Hello and welcome back to the Mainly Sports Podcast. He's Jeesh,
And he's Shoop.
and on today's podcast, we're going to cover the top 10 free agent signings from this offseason. We are going to do a little bit different this time. Instead of doing individual lists, we came together as one to make one powerful list. So we are going to alternate giving it up here and give our thoughts on each signing. So yeah, Jeesh, take it away.
All right, like Shoop said, welcome back to the podcast. We're going to start off the list with the number 10 signing here, and we're going to go with Jamie Collins signing to the Detroit Lions in the offseason. With the thing with Jamie Collins, his stats are pretty good from last year with the Patriots. He had 81 tackles, 7 sacks, 3 interceptions, and 3 forced fumbles. That's a pretty good year. And Jamie Collins has always been a good player. I think the Patriots, the way they play him, is a perfect fit. That's why he's number 10 on the list, because I think his stats may go down a little bit with Detroit, just because Detroit's a lot worse than the Patriots. Well, maybe not now, but Detroit's defense is a lot worse than the Patriots. So maybe his stats could go up. But I believe Jamie Collins going to Detroit was only because Matt Patricia is the head coach there, and they used to be defensive coordinator and defensive player together a few years ago in New England. But I like the signing. I think it'll make Detroit a little bit better on defense. They just need a little bit more pieces of the puzzle to get better overall. So Collins number 10.
I will just say off what you said there. I do think his stats will go up. If not go up, they'll at least stay the same. I don't think he'll lose production. Just the reason why I feel like he's number 10 on this list is like I said when we were doing the list, he's with the Lions, and the biggest factor that goes into free agency is when you sign somebody is, are they going to help you win? And Jamie Collins is going to help you win. But the only problem is that the Lions aren't winners.
Yeah.
Nobody sees them coming anything remotely close to the playoffs. So I think it's a great signing for the player that he is. I just don't think it's a good signing for the player. I think it's good for the team, not good for the player, because the player's not going to get out of the team what the team's going to get out of the player. So I do want to just mention at the start of the video, if you like this video, if you like that number 10 right there, go down, hit the like button 6, 17, 18 times. I know it only matters once, but hey, show the enthusiasm. Hit the subscribe button. Comment down who you thought was a surprising pickup from a team, or an overrated or underrated pickup from the team. Hey, we like to hear your interest and your opinions. So next on the list, number 9, is Malcolm Jenkins going to the Saints. It's his second stint with the Saints. Most recently, he was with the Eagles. Jeesh, you know that. I just think he's going to help him solidify a good coverage corner that can do it all. I don't think he's as good of a coverage corner, but he is, or not corner, safety. But he is a very good blitzing safety and good tackling safety. And I think that's what his strongest suits. But he's no scrub in coverage either. Throughout his career, he has 17 interceptions. So, but last year he had 4 forced fumbles and 2.5 sacks at safety, which is a very good season for a safety. And he had 81 combined tackles. So he had a solid season with the Eagles, and I think that signing is going to help their defense out tremendously out in New Orleans. So Malcolm Jenkins, number 9.
Yeah, like you said, Malcolm came from the Philadelphia Eagles, where he had 6 straight healthy seasons. And coming from the Eagles players don't stay healthy for a whole season. Malcolm Jenkins has stayed healthy for 6 straight. So I think that's definitely going to help the Saints with a long playoff push, I believe. But another thing with Malcolm Jenkins is he started his career in New Orleans. He came to Philadelphia, and I think it's right to go back to New Orleans and end it there. And that's what I think he's going to do. That's why I don't have any hate on the move for Malcolm Jenkins. He will always have a piece of Philadelphia's heart, because he's led that defense for so many years, and it's only right to go back where you started and retire there. All right, moving to number 8 on the list, we have former Steeler, now Eagle, Javon Hargrave. not really a guy you might think of when you think of surprise good free agent signings. But last year he played 13 games in normal season 16. He had 60 tackles and 4 sacks, which is not you on paper it doesn't really look great, but the physical force that he has on the defensive line and breaking through the line and even just interrupting what the quarterback is going to do, knocking him out of the pocket or even making contact with him. He's very good at doing that. He's done it so well for the Steelers over the last few years, and I think coming to the Eagles, he's going to do the same thing. Already with a defensive line that is, I believe, pretty good with Fletcher Cox leading that right in the middle there. So I think he's going to learn a lot with Philadelphia, and I think he's going to improve a little bit. And I like the sign-in. That's why he is number 8 on our list.
Yeah, the most important thing with Javon Hargraves is that he has gotten better literally every single year,
Yeah.
which you want to see from a guy like that. And it's like I've said with the stats, you can't really look into the stats with like an interior lineman and stuff like that, just because the numbers don't tell everything. It doesn't tell you how much he's actually interrupted, a run or given a chance for T.J. Watt to get single coverage on that line to be able to go after the quarterback. So, yeah, it sucks to see him go, but especially the Eagles, gross. But hey, I wish nothing but the best for him. Number 7, we got Eric Ebron coming to the Steelers. I think this is one of the most underrated signings, along with it has the most upside, or one of the ones with the most upside, because Eric Ebron, he does have a problem with dropping the ball. Last season, he only played in 11 games. He only started 2. He only had 31 receptions, but his yards per catch was the most of his career so far. So I feel like if he would have just gotten more opportunities, plus the Colts offense last year was pretty stagnant, so which didn't help him out either. And he only had 3 touchdowns. But they were more of a running team last year with Jacoby Brissett. But 2 years ago with the Colts, his first year with the Colts, he had multiple games where he had he had 3 touchdowns. He had a very good season, and I feel like his efficiency went down with the quarterback play going so far down to what it did last year. So it's cheap, $6 million a year for 2 years. You're not really giving up too much for a guy that could be a future staple point in your offense at tight end. So I'm excited as a Steelers fan to see where it goes with Eric Ebron, and I've liked Eric Ebron since he came into the league, just because he came in as a different breed of tight end. He was a tight end that could have played wide receiver, but just was too big to play wide receiver. So I've liked him ever since he came into the league, and I'm so happy to have him on the team, and I can't wait to see him every Sunday playing in the black and gold. So, number 7, Eric Ebron coming to the Steelers.
Yeah. We think we both definitely agree that Eric Ebron is better than what people say he is. And I know that you've been a fan for a long time now, and that's why I kind of handed that one to you, so you could talk about him the whole time. And he's coming to the Steelers, so it's going to be a fun season for you guys, I think. But anyway, moving on to number 6, we have Chris Harris going to the Los Angeles Chargers. I like this move because for the last few years, Chris Harris has been a lockdown corner. He may not show it with the with the stats, getting the interceptions and stuff, but just that. And if they don't throw the ball his way, because he's always covering the guy, he's all over him. Or if they do throw the ball to him, he'll get a pass deflection, or he'll force an incompletion or some sort of way. I didn't like him in Denver because I'm not a Denver Bronco fan, but I'm gonna like him in LA for the Chargers. It's gonna be cool to see Chris Harris in those new uniforms. If you haven't seen him, go check him out. I think he's gonna have a great year for the Chargers. I think the Chargers may surprise a lot of people this year. Yeah, Chris Harris has always been good. The only thing I'm concerned about is his age. Some corners tend to slow down around what age he's at right now, but I think he's gonna have another good 1 or 2 years in him. So we will see. That's the reason why Chris Harris is number 6 on the list.
Yeah, I think the Chargers season really depends on if Justin Herbert is everything that uh, people expect him to be coming out of the draft. Because they have everything else. They underperformed last year, so I'm looking forward to see what the Chargers can do. Even though that we might be the only ones. There's no one in LA that cares what's going on in there, but um, which is sad to see. But number 5, we're going to stick with the Chargers in essence. Philip Rivers coming over to the Colts. Again, they had a down year last year, like I said, but this signing is huge just because it is the Colts, because the Colts have so many pieces to be a contender, and everybody will say that the Colts were just a quarterback away last year, especially with how abruptly Andrew Luck just randomly retired right before the season started, um, which a lot of fans kind of took that personally afterwards. At first, they were kind of like, I want to be happy for him for what he did. But then, they kind of used that as a reasoning for good reason. Um, so they'll have a quarterback again. Granted, he has been on the decline, 23 touchdowns, 20 interceptions. Um, but he had a good amount of yards, 4,600 yards, 66% completion. That's 7% higher than the greatest quarterback ever, Dan Marino. Um, just want to throw that out there. And also, he has not missed a start since he started starting in the league. So he's gonna be there for the Colts all 16 games, barring anything unforeseen. Knock on wood. Um, so I'm excited to see what he does with the Colts, simply because he does have so much talent around him, and he actually has an established running game, which Melvin Gordon did not give him after crying for money and begging for money. Didn't give him a run game at all last season, and that was the biggest problem with the Chargers last season. So I'm excited to see what he can do with the Colts. So Philip Rivers, number 5.
Yeah, I like Philip Rivers there at number 5 going to the Colts. I actually think he's going to be a perfect fit. Um, like you said, he hasn't missed a game since he came into the league. But yeah, he like you said, where he hasn't missed a game since coming into the league. With the age that he's at right now and possibly on the decline, I think he's going to have a way better season than what he did last year. I think the Colts have a better, like you said, a better run game. They have a really good run game. They have Marlon Mack. They have Hines. I believe they just drafted a running back in the draft as well. So they have 3 solid running backs that they can go to. Plus, still have T.Y. Hilton, who's always,
Injured.
as long as he's always injured, right?
Sorry.
If he stays healthy, he's going to have a guy to throw to. I mean, they did lose Eric Ebron, so that's one downside. But they still got Jack Doyle. Um,
Yeah.
but
I,
yeah, I like the Philip Rivers signing. I hope he does good. Um, for the Colts. So I'd like to see the Colts do. I think they're going to make the playoffs this year with him,
and
and I think they could make a long run. You never know.
yeah, and the fit works out so well because Philip Rivers might be the most boring quarterback in the league. Uh,
To the most, yeah,
yeah, and goes to the most boring team. The only difference, obviously, he's got fire on the sidelines, but other than that, he's
oh
just
yeah, for sure.
he's a prototypical family man with the Brady Bunch times 2. So
Yeah.
yeah, it seems like a good fit.
All right, moving to number 4 on the list, we have Emmanuel Sanders going to the New Orleans Saints. Our second Saint on the list. Um, I like this move because last year for the Saints, Michael Thomas, who had a whale of a season, one of the best I've seen in a long time, besides Calvin Johnson, I believe. You put Emmanuel Sanders out there running routes and running around defenders, it's going to take eyes off of Michael Thomas, and if you have eyes on Michael Thomas, it's going to take eyes off Emmanuel Sanders. And some say Emmanuel Sanders is in the decline. I don't think he's in a decline. I just think an injury derailed him for a little bit. Um, and I think Denver got rid of him way too soon. I was hoping when the 49ers went to the Super Bowl that he'd get a Super Bowl ring. I know you don't because of what he said about your quarterback, but yeah, I think Emmanuel Sanders just being on the field is going to change the whole change the whole way that everyone looks at Michael Thomas, and it's gonna be interesting to see what they do. Um, with the pass game in the run game. I think the Saints are going to be a very good team this year. I think they actually have a great chance to go to the Super Bowl. Emmanuel Sanders at number 4.
Yeah, they're definitely one of the Super Bowl favorites. It's like I said when we were putting this list together. It's gonna be the first time that Michael Thomas actually has a solidified number two guy that people actually have to worry about. So I'm excited to see what happens. And you're
Yeah.
right, I do still feel very disrespected by Emmanuel Sanders for taking his cheap shots at my quarterback. So if it wasn't for Ben Roethlisberger, he never would have got the money to go to Denver. So. Um, Anyways, number three, Amari Cooper to the Cowboys again. Getting re-signed by the Cowboys. Um, his numbers last year don't look that great. 79 receptions, 1,189 yards, 8 touchdowns, 15%, 15 yards per catch. But that's because the offense never got going last year. The main reason why is because they really didn't have a second option until later on in the season with Gallup. Um, they had Randall Cobb, but he was kind of a disappointment last year, and their offense just never seemed to really get going. Um, it had its high marks, but then it had really low lows for multiple weeks at a time. So, but Amari Cooper was the one bright spot on last season throughout the entire season. Just he had to face a lot of double and triple coverage just because of the defense not respecting the rest of the team or the rest of that offense. So for what Amari Cooper had to deal with last season, with not having the production from his teammates, from being double and triple covered all season, to still get 79 receptions and over 1,000 yards, he had an impressive season, and it's just he's building chemistry, and uh, I'm sure next season's going to be even better. So, Amari Cooper, number three.
Yeah, I believe the signing by the Cowboys is very smart. Cowboys got the best player on the team back. Well, maybe not the best player on the team, but the best wide receiver on the team. Um, yeah, very smart of the Cowboys to lock him up. So yeah, moving on number two, we have Drew Brees, easy breezy, and there's really not much to say about this signing. He's re-signing with the Saints. Of course, everyone knows he's been a Saint for a long time now, and for most probably one of the top three quarterbacks in the league to this day. He's just so smart with the ball. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, which is good, obviously, because you don't want to turn the ball over. Age for quarterbacks don't really slow him down, as we've noticed over the years with Drew Brees and Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and all them other older quarterbacks. Um, but yeah, the resign they need Drew Brees to go places. They do have Taysom Hill as their backup, and also Jameis Winston, who was also signed and considered for the list, but not put on here. Not really. Just joking. Um, Drew Brees is the leader of any team he would be on. He is a man of the year. Um, he has so much pride in what he does. He's not a guy who's going out there and saying I'm the greatest, I'm the best, and you have to bow down to me. No, he is such a team player, and it's the reason why they have so many good players on their team. Everyone wants to play with Drew Brees, and I don't blame him for that. But I honestly think this year Drew Brees is going to go and have a stellar year, if not. Yeah, I think he's going to have maybe one of the best years of his career. Um, so the Saints were very smart to lock him up, and I'm sure Drew wanted to come back either way. But the combo between him and Sean Payton over the years, it's almost like Belichick and Brady. But yeah, the combo they have and Drew Brees coming back, it's going to lead to. I'm gonna give you breaking news right now. Saints are going to win the Super Bowl this year. That's right. I said it. You heard it here first. The New Orleans Saints are going to the Super Bowl and are going to win it. So Drew Brees at number two.
Hear that, Philadelphia fans? You guys already don't have hope already, and it's only May. Look at you guys.
Now
Uh,
let me just all right. Let me just say something about that. We will have hope when shout out to Jalen Hurts. He comes into the game in the playoffs and maybe gets it done.
Yeah, like the biggest thing I said with putting Drew Brees on this list is it's so important, not only because of coming back next season and the season after that. Um, Everybody that follows football knows that he was going to re-sign with the Saints. It was no secret. But the biggest thing about this is him being able to help. Yeah, the no-name quarterback that they signed for $1 million. That I can't think of his name of right now. Jameis Winston. There we go. Um, that has all the arm talent in the world. Just makes the most stupidest bonehead decisions. It almost looks like he can't read a defense, and Drew Brees has had to rely on being able to read a defense because he was never, the quickest, he was never the tallest, he was never the biggest, um, or the most skilled. Um, but he was the toughest and he was the smartest. So uh, he had to rely on that. So I think that's the most important thing is these next 2 seasons he gets to play for them, and possibly hang it up after that. But also he's helping out their future if Jameis Winston decides to stay there. He could help mold Jameis Winston into being a franchise quarterback for them possibly because he has all the tools, just in nothing between the ears when it comes to football. So, um, but moving on to number one, we have Teddy Bridgewater to the Panthers. Um, Best signing this offseason, underrated offseason signing. The reason why it's number one on here is because nobody expects it to work out, or everybody laughs at it that they want him to be their starting quarterback. When just earlier in the year, when Drew Brees went out, Teddy Bridgewater stepped in and had 5 starts for 1,384 yards, 67.9% completion percentage. That's 9% higher than the greatest ever quarterback in the NFL, Dan
Here we go.
Marino. So that's impressive right there. He's already a Hall of Famer in NFL's eyes. Um, that's sarcasm, by the way. But he had 9 touchdowns, which isn't a lot for 5 starts, and only 2 interceptions. So that tells me though that he was protecting the ball. They did rely more on the run when he was in there, but you're going to change up your offense because you don't have your guy there. So, but to step in when nobody really thinks twice about you, and play as good as he did last year, that was amazing. Um, and I think he's overlooked now because people were talking about him getting a starter job after that in the offseason. And then Panthers do that and they give him a starting position, and everybody laughed at it like they forgot what he did last year. And even before his injury, that the devastating knee injury that he had, 2015 in his second season, he had 65.3% completion percentage in just his sophomore season. And I will remind you that is 6% higher than the greatest ever quarterback in NFL history, Dan Marino. 3,231 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. It's not a great touchdown interception ratio, but it was only his second year. And what last year told me was, even though he hasn't been playing, he's been learning, and that's the most important thing. Um, and for the Panthers to get him, they got a good wide receiver in Robbie Anderson. They got McCaffrey there. I mean, he's gonna help Teddy Bridgewater out. Teddy Bridgewater isn't gonna be relied on to carry that offense. So I'm excited to see what he does with the Panthers. They do have a lot of missing parts now on defense, but offensively, I think they're going to be a very good team and a super fun and exciting team to watch next year. So I'm looking forward to it, and that's why we chose him for number one on my side at least. So I'll let you take it away there, Jeesh.
Yeah, I can definitely agree that Teddy Bridgewater is obviously we have a number one on the list for a reason. I think he could also go on a current NFL's underrated list. Um, People don't give him the credit where it's due, but yeah, like you said, it's gonna be fun to watch him this season with him and McCaffrey and all that offense can do. Although I will say it will be kind of difficult with the division that they're in, being in the Drew Brees Saints division and the Tom Brady Buccaneers division, and then the Falcons, who you never know what the Falcons are going to do. They can go 14-2, or they can go 2-14. You never know. But I think Carolina is going to definitely improve from last year. Now that they get the whole Cam Newton saga out of the way, and finally dropped him off the face of the earth, what they should have done 6 years ago. But yeah, I like Teddy Bridgewater signing. That's the reason why he's number one on our list. That's all I got to say from that.
Yeah. So this one's actually gone a little bit shorter because we did only have one list. Um, so I was actually just thinking while you were talking because I was listening to what you were saying, but I was also thinking while you were talking, and
Hmm.
I'd like to just talk about a couple other signings or potential signings. Get some thoughts. You
Hmm.
down?
Sure.
Um, my one is the one I was going to ask you about is where do you think Logan Ryan's going to go? Because today Logan Ryan put out on his Instagram that he's not coming back to Tennessee, um, and he thanked the fans and everything else like that. And they are saying that Giants are the biggest suitors for him right now. What do you think about that?
I think Logan Ryan is a great cornerback. Um, I, if the Giants are the main suitors, I don't see a reason why he wouldn't go there. The Giants definitely need a cornerback. They need a lot of things though. Is he gonna want to? Is he still for the Titans or is he a free agent?
He's a free agent. He
Okay.
just hasn't signed yet.
Okay. Um, yeah, I mean, if he wants to go play in the Giants and play for crappy teams, then that's up to him. I could see him doing it if the Giants offer him a lot of money. I mean, money talks, but I'd like to see him go to a contender because when he played for the Patriots, he was one of the best corners on that team, and I think he's better than what his stats show. Um, but yeah, I mean, if he goes to the Giants, good for him. I hope the best for him, but we'll see in the next few days. I think Logan Ryan's definitely gonna get signed. It's just a matter of who's gonna sign him.
Yeah, exactly. He was in talks with Tennessee. It didn't say why exactly he decided not to come back. I'm surprised he didn't want to come back though. Especially the way that year ended, dude. Everybody in Tennessee right now is so excited for the Titans next
Yeah,
year. Really, the sky's the limit over there in the fans' eyes. I feel like it was a Cinderella run, in my personal opinion. I don't think Derrick Henry is going to put the entire team on his back like he did
yeah,
at the end there. Don't
yeah.
get me wrong. I think he's going to come back and next season and be just as good. Don't get me wrong, but I think that was just one of the magical things that 10, 20 years down the line we're going to look back at. And we're still going to remember that from this season, even though they didn't make it to the Super Bowl. Um, all right, the next one I wanted to ask you about was actually a signing that happened that I don't know if many people heard about. Tom Brady going to the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Tom went to the Buccaneers. I don't know if it was on the news or not. It might have been a little bit under the radar, but I actually think he brought Rob Gronkowski with him too. I don't know if anyone knows
Did
that.
he?
Yeah,
No way.
yeah, yeah. The greatest WWE superstar of all time, current 24/7 champion.
Yes. The current 20, and he did say he will still defend it no matter where, even if it's on the football field during the game. So,
That should be very fun to watch. But yeah, Tom Brady going to the Buccaneers. I'm not necessarily a big fan of this. The thing with Tom Brady, he played for the Patriots basically 2 decades. It was 2 decades. Yeah, he got drafted in 2000, and it's now 2020, so that's 20 years. Um, him and Bill Belichick created a dynamic duo at head coach and quarterback. As much as people hate Tom Brady, you got to respect what he does in the field from what he is given. I don't know how many times the Patriots have changed wide receivers over the last 20 years, and Tom Brady has to find new ways to get the job done. Granted, he's had a good offensive line throughout his whole career, but last year he relied on his defense, and he was kind of in a decline. It may have been the fact that the whole Antonio Brown thing fell through, and the Josh Gordon thing fell through, and he didn't have a Rob Gronkowski this year, but which I could see the reason why the decline would happen. But he's going to Tampa Bay. Bruce Arians is the head coach over there. The thing with the Belichick wants to get the ball out of his hands quick, and Tom Brady's so good at that. Um, Now Bruce Arians, he likes to have 3-step drops, so it's going to be. I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to work. I think Tom Brady is going to have not such a great year. If he does have a good year, it's going to be because he has Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, um, Cameron Brate, and OJ Howard for now. That's what they have. Plus Ronald Jones III at running back. They have a stellar offense. If their defense can get it done, the team is going to be scary. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Tom Brady. I don't know if you have any more thoughts on that.
Yeah, I do. I've said multiple times that he's a system quarterback. Bruce Arians fits well with him, but I still feel as though, all right, so you don't give a 43-year-old quarterback $50 million over 2 years. You just don't do it. And I know everybody else loves the signing. And I know I'm a Patriots hater and I'm a Tom Brady hater. But if Brady does not throw for 4,500 yards, 40 touchdowns, and less than 10 interceptions this year, then this contract was a complete waste of money.
Mm-hmm.
I 100% wholeheartedly believe that, because you're paying him like he's Tom Brady of 2007. He's not Tom Brady of 2007. He's Tom Brady of 2020. He's 43 years old. He's not young anymore. And I know he wanted the security, and the reason why he wanted the security was because he knows he's old. He knows he's declining, so he wanted that security, and just to get that last couple million out of his career. I don't see it working out very well. I think they're going to be a playoff team, just because of all the weapons that he has. But I think at the end of the day, the main factor that's going to drag them down is their most costly piece, and that's Tom Brady.
Thanks for listening to the Mainly Sports Podcast with Shoop and Jeesh. Make sure to leave a comment and give us your top 10 list. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and follow us on Instagram at mainly_sports. And that's mainly_sports, MAINELY_SPORTZ. Thank you. Till next time.